Look, Kidgell, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. This is exciting.
You're back in Glasgow.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Do you like Glasgow, mate?
It reminds me of Gotham. in the nicest way possible. Yeah, I do like it. But it's just like, it's like old and grimy and like, it's cool.
You played at the Pavilion last night, which was such like a majestic theatre. I loved, and for the people that have been to the Pavilion, they might have seen this booth before. The funniest part for me of the show was spotting when you called out that booth that was on the bottom left of the audience. What was that, mate?
They have like the royal boxes in the theatre where back in old times, people like royals would literally sit above the common folk, which is usually they're on the second floor right next to the stage. So it's arguably the best seats in the house, even though it's not. But it's just like away from where the rest of the stalls are. But weirdly in this theatre, there's a royal box down the bottom floor, just shoved into the corner. So it just looked like the broom closet that Harry Potter grew up in the Dursleys' house. Like, and I spoke to the guy in the box, and yeah, I was like, "Did you know that it was going to be on the floor?" He's like, "No, I thought it was going to be up there." It was great.
Oh, I love
Very
that.
funny.
I've came bearing gifts.
Oh my God, thank you.
I'm going to hand them over to you. I took these photos for you this morning. There we go.
We love kilts. Oh, thank you. I'm going to put this on my fridge back at home. I might even give this to my mum. She'll love it. That's for audio listeners. It's hunky Scottish men in kilts on a postcard, and I haven't taken my eyes off it since you gave it to me.
And I got you this magnet as well, so we got the rear view as well.
Oh, great. What are you? You're supposed to wear pants with a kilt.
No, a real true Scotsman doesn't wear any underwear with a kilt.
Oh, really?
So if you go to a wedding or perhaps a funeral and a man's wearing a kilt, you ask him, "Are you a true Scotsman?" If he says yes, he must reveal his battered sausage.
Is that really tradition?
Yeah.
That's weird, guys. Let's stop doing that one.
It's the equivalent to the like Aussies go barefoot quite a lot, right?
Yeah, barefoot, not bare dick. That is a massive gap between different cultures right there. Yes, I guess just because like a lot of people live near the beach. So it's just like
But you can raw dog it in like supermarkets and stuff, right? You can get the tootsies out in the middle aisle.
Yeah, you can. I wouldn't though. I'd judge someone for doing that.
Yeah. So I was judging you because you had your shoes on and walking into the studio.
Yeah, you're probably judging me because I have underwear on. You're like, weird.
I'm not wearing any, mate. That's for the Patreon. I've also came with edible gifts.
Okay.
I've brought you some Scottish delicacies to try live on the podcast, and we can see whether we like them or not. I don't eat many of these things besides the iron brew. I drink that. But the other things that I've brought you, I don't eat. So I'll also be giving my live reaction. Is that okay?
Okay, yeah.
Cool.
So this is the problem when you go to other countries, they go, "You have to try this." And then I'm like, "Do you eat it?" They go, "Would never." Why would I?
So this is a Scotch egg. The only difference is that it's kind of it's not deep fried, it's just coated in breadcrumbs. Okay?
It's a breadcrumbed egg.
Yeah.
Is it like...
Do you have any allergies, by the way? I think that was an important question to ask.
No, I don't. But thanks for waiting till I've already touched the food. I don't really like egg, but I do like breadcrumbed things.
I used to have... like eggs used to be my enemy. That was the only food that I didn't eat because I didn't really understand the fetishization of eggs. Like, do you know when people go on Instagram and they cut the poached eggs open and let the yolk spill? I thought that looks horrible. I don't get why people would ever post that.
No, I don't. I'm not really a breakfast guy because eggs is such a main component of breakfast.
Yeah, I'm the same. Eggs taste like nothing if nothing was out of date.
That's so true. All right.
Let's go for it.
It's not that bad.
I can't taste like the egg.
Is it all egg?
Is there sauce? Is there meat in the middle of it?
There's
There's also meat. Are you vegan or vegetarian as well? No.
No, but again, thanks for asking me till it's in my mouth. Yeah, it tastes like an off Burger King chicken bowl or something.
Yeah,
like
it's like one of those balls that have been kicked under like the oven for like 4 weeks, and an employee has found that they're not getting paid enough to eat, so they eat it.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it tastes like.
I'm probably not going to be going back for round 2. I don't want to offend your culture, but it's great. Thank you. This is.
What would you rate it out of 10?
Do you want an honest answer?
Is it an aye or a no?
What does that mean?
Yes or a no?
Oh, I could have guessed that. It's a no.
No from Luke.
No,
On the
I'm
Scotch
sorry.
egg. I need to wash that down. We've got shortbread. No one really in Scotland does eat this as like a biscuit. Like they would rather have a digestive or like a cookie. But foreigners love it when they come here.
I like shortbreads.
Have you tried it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I haven't got any homemade ones. It's from the finest Tesco. Wasn't a big Tesco, it was from a small Tesco.
Oh yeah, it tastes like my grandma's house.
What does your grandma's house taste like?
Well, she used to give me shortbreads. I wasn't munching the house. That's good. It's a big eye from me.
I like it too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Can't live in a lie.
This is better than a digestive. Why don't you guys eat this?
I don't know. I actually don't know. They are pretty good.
Shortbreads back at home are like a real Christmas tradition. Like you often have them on Christmas Day.
I think it's only because there's only 2.4 grams of sugar per biscuit, and I don't think that's enough for Scottish people. I think that's exactly what it is. And it's not deep fried. So,
God forbid you actually feel okay after you eat something.
This is the first podcast that I'm scared. There's like a health risk assessment. I'm scared in case you get diabetes by the end of this. Secondhand diabetes.
Nah, if you had seen like my diet on this trip, that we're fine.
I'm going to ask about that later on. I'm going to ask what life on the road looks like. What one's the...
It looks like a lot like this. Just like food from a kebab store in Ironbrew.
We've got the main event. Your face.
Is it what I think it is?
What do you think it is?
Is it haggis?
I think it's arguably worse.
Oh.
I think this is almost like a hate crime. We in Scotland deep fry pizza.
Oh, that's awesome. You're speaking to a guy who has the palate of a 7-year-old boy. This is like my dream.
This is your packed lunch.
I used to work at a golf club, and when our bosses used to leave, we used to get bored and just put shit in the deep fryer. I got really experimental back in the day. You know, like the long killer python lollies?
No.
Like the snakes?
Oh, yeah.
Like the long, we used to just like deep fry half of it and then take it out and then like eat it.
Can you do that again for the cam?
Yeah. And don't you deep fry Mars bars here too? Oh, that's what's in the other box. I've heard about the deep fried Mars bars. I've never heard about deep fried pizza.
Should we try it?
Please. I reckon this will be bad.
I'm going to hold it up to the camera so people can see. Oh,
Man, I thought it was haggis, so this is so much better than what I was predicting.
can I get you to hold it
Yeah.
for the camera?
It's like half a pizza that's just been deep fried. It's oily. And quite frankly, I want it in me.
I've heard that before. Let's, we'll just rip it off, I think.
All right.
I have had these before. I'm actually a huge fan of these after a night out.
Do you have potato cakes? We deep fry.
Fucking what?
You know, what else would be called? Like a scallop? Potato scallop?
A scallop? A scallop is like a fish.
Yeah, I know, but there's some places in the world call it a potato scallop.
Like a potato scone.
It's just like it's like flat potato.
Oh, we have a potato scone. Yeah.
All right, is that
what? Quite similar.
Yeah. At fish and chips stores, do you sell them?
No. Oh, a fritter. We call it a fritter. Yeah.
All right,
potato fritter.
Just okay, yeah.
It's like a big chip, a big fry.
I guess, yeah. All right, well, it kind of looks like that.
Do you want to cheers?
Cheers. That's awesome.
I agree.
Yeah. I feel like I'm having a heart attack eating it.
We often would have it with like tomato ketchup, which is strange. Because you wouldn't eat a normal pizza. You wouldn't eat a normal pizza with tomato ketchup, would you?
This is delicious.
This is lunch.
I'm going to get this again. I feel like it definitely doesn't feel good for you.
It's so good after a night out if you're like towards the end of the night. Like it sorts you right out. I mean, you probably don't thank yourself for it in the morning, but it's amazing.
Oh my God. Damn. Congratulations on having such a rich culture here.
It's amazing.
You
Isn't it?
deep fry pizza.
There's a fish, like in small towns, there's a ritual whereby if you go to a fish and chip store with any possession, they'll deep fry it for you.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe not possession, but any food item.
Oh, right. So it has to be edible.
I don't know.
You can't be like, here's my grandma's ashes.
your grandma's house.
Chuck it with the deep fryer. Italian people must hate Scottish people. Look what you've done to their delicacy.
I think it's their influence. Like during the 1900s, that's only last century. During the 1900s, there's quite a lot of migration from Italy to Scotland. So I can imagine it was their influence. They brought their pizzas across and then we deep fried them.
You just know for a fact an Italian person got drunk and dropped a pizza in a deep fryer and then went, oh shit.
Give that person a Nobel Peace Prize.
That's great.
Okay, so that's an eye.
That big eye. Yeah, I thought this was going to be way worse. I thought you're going to get like, because isn't haggis like sheep's stomach or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. It's like an amalgamation of meats. Is it an amalgamation of meats? Yeah.
But do you actually eat it?
Yeah. Not regularly, but you would have it in January for Burns Night. Robert Burns is our national poet, and to celebrate him, we'd have that. And maybe we'd have it on St. Andrew's Day, and St. Andrew was our patron saint.
Do you have a public holiday to celebrate a poet?
Do we have time off for that? No, we don't have time.
It's just a day where you celebrate a poet.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we celebrate it by eating haggis.
Australians can't even read. We would never.
Oh, mate, this looks awful. Oh, I've not had one of these in my life.
I think Australia's most famous poet is Iggy Azalea. And we should take a night off once a year to just go, yes, thank you, Iggy.
What food would you celebrate Iggy's life with?
I don't know, man. Probably just like McDonald's or some shit. Like her music. Nah, I love you, Iggy. Sorry.
Oh, National Iggy Day. So now we have dessert.
Okay.
Which is, as you guessed it, a deep fried Mars bar. I've never tried one of these for good reason. So I'm glad to be breaking my deep fried Mars bar virginity with you, Luke.
Thank you. It's great to be here for it. From a distance, it looks like someone deep fried a turd. I will be honest.
I am pranking you, mate. That's exactly what it is. I went to a local chippy and they said they would deep fry anything. And I gave them my colostomy bag.
All right.
Can we touch tips?
Let's touch tips. All right. Do people actually eat this?
No, never. It's such a gimmick.
Okay.
I don't think anyone eats them anyway.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Why?
I don't know if I love it or hate it.
I think I love it, and that's why I'm asking why. I wasn't asking you, I was asking myself. I'm like, Luke, why does our brain react like this is good? No, I'm already sick of it.
No,
I liked it, and then I think I just like Mars bars. Yeah. The pizza was better. The pizza fits the fryer more. I don't know. There's something about it.
Sorry, I can't talk, mate. I've kind of went all non-verbal after eating that.
I've gone back for a second bite. Yeah. Fair enough. Everyone has their culture, and you got to respect other people's cultures. The egg wasn't great.
Is that an I or a no?
I think it's like a no.
Like post-nut clarity, post-deep fried Mars bar clarity.
Yeah.
I get you.
In the moment, I was like, this is the best thing ever. And then I'm like, what have I done?
Full of regret and shame.
Well, thank you so much. I feel culturally enlightened.
Some people go to Mecca to celebrate religion and culture. Some people have deep fried Mars bars and deep fried pizza. We have stuff to wash it down with.
Oh, yeah. The famous iron brew.
We got sorry to go back to the microphone. We got the original recipe, which is from cane sugar.
Is this hard to come by, the original?
I'm going to say yes. just to impress you.
But probably not. It's
No.
at Tesco.
I want to, I want to pretend like I locally sourced it from a river somewhere, but no, it's from a Tesco.
And you canned it up.
Just for you. And then we have just a standard iron brew.
So which one should I try? I think I've had the standard one before, so I think I should try the original
Let's do
recipe.
that.
Because you can get those at KFC here.
Oh yeah.
That's so wild.
Why is that wild?
Because nowhere in the world would KFC serve iron brew. It's like
think-
nowhere else.
I don't know if it's a marketing ploy or it's fact, but it was distinguished that iron brew. Sorry, Scotland is the only country whereby Coca-Cola isn't the number one selling soft drink.
Yeah.
And iron brew is. I don't know if that was just a marketing ploy by the AG Bar family.
I've heard it. I've heard that fact too, so I want to believe it.
Let's believe it.
It's kind of cool that you guys are going against the grain and your own thing's better than America.
When they zig, we zag.
All right. Original recipe.
I don't know why I'm trying this on camera. Like I've never had it before. I think it's
good.
breakfast.
I like it.
Is it better than the original if you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How come they made a new one? You don't know.
Capitalism.
Yeah, right. No, it's good.
They changed the recipe of this in 2018. So I think it had double the amount of sugar. And in 2018, I don't know if it was pressures from the Scottish government or because of our child obesity rates.
Oh, so this is the double amount of sugar one?
I think so. Let's see. Does it say on the back?
Oh, I'm going to die. I don't know. It just says something about energy and I feel pretty G'd up. So that's all I need. I've had 2 sips and I feel on top of the world.
I feel so sorry for the listeners who are not watching on YouTube. They've just heard us-
hearing me drink.
Yeah. Fear, did you bring any alcohol? I was going to bring you some alcohol. I do realise it's midday, so you probably wouldn't have had it.
Oh, no, I'm Australian. That would have been fun by me. I'm like, oh, for breakfast.
Oh, yes.
Is this a traditional Scottish
Yeah,
beer?
it's a pint of Tennent's.
What, is it Tennent's like a lager?
Yeah, so our greatest, we did invent the television and the telephone, but this is our greatest invention.
Oh, wow. I mean, lager's like my go-to drink. I'm assuming it's better on tap.
Yeah, tap the top of it. I just threw it across the table.
What?
Okay, I'll translate it. If you tap the top of it.
Tap the top. Why do you have to tap the top?
So it doesn't.
Oh. Sure. All right. Yeah, that's awesome.
You like it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, what? An Australian enjoyed a beer. Yeah. I thought I'd switch it up and try something new.
Yeah. I don't think we have missed anything out on our Scottish food road trip today.
I think I'm going to have to go try this on tap.
Yeah, we'll do that afterwards. We'll get you a pint.
Wow. How good.
Post-podcast pint.
This is unreal.
This is the entire podcast is a mukbang.
Wow, this has been what a treat. Imagine if you're like, all right, thanks so much for joining us.
I'm moving on to some more hilarity, right? Because I'm not sure we had a moment to check the podcast. It was your amazing friend Darren that introduced us.
Yes.
I've been a fan of your work. It was quite funny actually when I was looking at my Instagram DMs when you said, "Oh, David, I'm more than happy to come on the podcast." I looked at my previous message to you, and it was just me tagging you on my story a year ago, and I thought how weird this is. Like you'll. Like
Oh,
had
you came to my show last year. Oh, thank you so much. That's very kind.
12 months on, you're here in the studio. It's just amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So when I do my research for guests, I like to look into their origin story because this podcast uses origin stories as a self-development tool.
Okay.
And I looked online and I found many articles, but I came across this website called Fandom.
Okay.
Okay.
This is news to me.
And they've written you a biography. And
Are these one of those ones where that's like written by either AI or in clearly broken English?
no, it's by someone who's a fan of you.
Oh, okay.
And I think it is very correct. So it says what your biographical information is. It says your marital status is dead.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
Date of birth.
No, I think that was written after I'd had the fried Mars bar.
I wrote it just like
Yeah, you wrote it for tomorrow. So it's up to date.
Mate, I'm not even joking. It says date of death tomorrow.
Oh, shit, it does. Oh, my God. All right, well, yeah, when I have a cardiac arrest tonight, at least we don't have to update that.
This is his eulogy.
Funny.
Date of birth, 27th of March, 1996.
Yeah.
They got that right. Place of birth, Asia.
No. Oh, yeah. I mean, Australia's in Asia.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, is it? Yeah.
Australasia?
Yeah. There's like, technically, I think we're in Asia, but then it's like, some people argue there's like another continent called Oceania.
Oh.
I think.
Are they like racist? Are they...
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb. Maybe we're not in Asia.
Can we do like a
Can someone look that up? I feel like I should know what continent we're in, but I feel like we're... And then some people argue that we're our own continent because we're just a massive landmass. But then what's New Zealand? Because they're next door. Just they're like, oh, come on, bro. You know?
And then Papua New Guinea's quite close, right?
Yeah. What continent? I'm going to Google it because this is sad that I don't... It is Oceania? Okay. Never mind. Maybe we were never in Asia. So that's wrong.
I'll update this tomorrow, mate.
Yeah, thank you. You're the fan who wrote it. I did my research, aka wrote a bio on you and posted it.
Fan fiction. Literally. Physical description. Species? Female.
Okay.
So you've transitioned. I didn't know you had.
It's 2024.
I'm really proud of you, mate.
Thank you.
I'm really proud of you. Gender? Human?
Yes. I identify as human for sure.
What are your pronouns?
He, him / you, man. Apparently, according to them.
Height? 724 kilograms.
724.
Kilograms. Yes, your height.
Yeah. Oh, that's my height.
That's your height, apparently.
Yeah. This is spot on, man.
And there's three more. Weight? 2 centimeters.
2 centimeters? Is this real?
I'm not even joking, mate. And the last one is eye color. Godly.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's correct.
I thought that, mate.
I have electric blue eyes for audio listeners. Imagine Harrison Ford, but hotter.
So now that we have went through the audit trail of your origin story online, I want to know what your real origin story is. How your comedic journey began.
How I got to 724 kilograms in height.
Mate, by eating this? Mate.
Yeah. What do you want to know? I was born in Oceania, apparently. So when a mummy and daddy love each other very much, I've got an older brother who is now my business manager, actually, and we've started a company together called Keg Touring, Kidgell Entertainment Group.
Nice.
Yeah, but we like beer, so we're like Keg. We thought that was so clever.
I love when comedians go into business because they just don't take it like as seriously as like a business person would.
No.
Like surely you would get, is your brother a comedian or is he into comedy?
No, he is ex-corporate. Like he worked at an accountant's firm in the city. He used to wear a suit on the train every day, and now we call him CBJ, Casual Business Jack, because now he just wears trackies to work and does the same shit, but he just books my shows.
That's sick.
Yeah.
So what city were you born in? What area?
Melbourne in Australia, and I love Melbourne. It's great. It's good.
And your introduction to comedy was through your YouTube channel and your videos?
I think I started stand-up first, but in a weird way, I was making videos with my friends, but just not publicly. Like in high school, we used to have this little Facebook group where we'd film videos at lunchtime, and people found out about it. And like sometimes we get like year sevens like come up to us who we had no idea, like we didn't know them, and they were just like, "Hey, can we join this group to watch your videos?" Because they'd see us filming it, and we're like, sure. Like, so then by the end, it became this weird thing where people in the school would just like request to join our Facebook group. And
was it quite like widely accepted? Because in Scotland, if you do something like that, if you're not playing football, you're like a working class guy that loves like underage drinking at the time, and a certain type of music, you're kind of ostracized from the tribe, especially like being creative or being putting yourself out online. We have tall poppy syndrome here in Scotland.
I know we have it so bad in Australia. I just don't care. No, like I wasn't part of like the popular group, but I wasn't like, I don't know. I don't know. I think I was just, I don't care. I was just jumping into bushes, and we just thought it was funny. Like it probably wasn't funny in hindsight. Everyone probably thought we were lame, but I had fun.
When did it start to gain traction? The kind of online content?
Yeah, so then I started doing it publicly, and I was, you know how everyone gets scared when they first do it that it's going to like ruin potential job prospects. So I didn't do it under my name. I had a YouTube channel called Bears and Things, which no one really knows about, but I changed the name. Once I realized like I maybe could have a career in this, I changed the name.
Why Bears and Things?
I just like bears and things. It's like bears and other stuff. And yeah, there was one video called You Don't Own Me where I ignored signs that went like mega viral, and because you don't need to speak English. So then I had a weirdly big following in the Philippines for a while. Like, cause I was wearing funny sunglasses and then doing the opposite of what the sign said. And it is truly as dumb as it sounds. And that's what the internet likes.
Do you think true comedy does translate to any language when it comes to like visual content?
I mean, no, it was like Mr. Bean. Like, it was just like, because I didn't do what it's, I don't know, like it depends what you define as true comedy. It was like a silent film kind of, but it just had this song in the background, but you could watch it on mute and you'd still get the joke. When
you like left high school, did you go straight into comedy or did you have to get a normal job? What is the rite of passage as a comedian?
I worked at a golf club. I was working at a golf club since I was 15, and then 2 years out of high school. So the year out of high school, I went to study music and then realized there was no money in music. So went into the flourishing career of comedy instead. And yeah, then about 6 months after high school, I did my first gig because I only watched stand-up for the first time after I'd finished high school. Yeah.
So your first gig 6 months after finishing high school?
Yeah, my first gig 3 months after ever watching stand-up for the first time. I just loved it straight away. I was like, oh, this is awesome.
So tell me about the process of writing your first bit, your first 5 minutes. In that case, if you just threw yourself straight into it. Do you still do those jokes?
No, I'm not. God, no. I don't even remember what I said. I can't imagine it was good. I remember, I think the first half an hour, there was one bit in it that I maybe would still stand behind as like a pretty good, it was fine. But no, I was so bad. How long have you been doing it for?
Like 18 months, almost 2 years.
Yeah, and like, I don't know. How are you going? Like, do you think you're good yet?
No, not yet.
I feel like I wasn't good for 5 years.
No, I'm not good. I'm not good at all.
That's good. But everyone's not good at the start. I'm sure you're fine, brother. I'm sure you're just being humble, but it's one of those things where you look back on your old shit and you're like, what was I doing?
Yeah. I think I'm still finding my voice. I've heard other comedians on the podcast share that it takes like 100 gigs or over 100 gigs until you really find your style. And I think I'm towards finding that at the moment, which is a nice maturity curve. Would you agree with that? Like, did you have to find your voice or did you find that quite early on?
I feel like I didn't find my voice till I started touring relentlessly like 3 or 4 years ago. So I'd been doing it for maybe 4 or 5 years and had a bit of a following, but I would still like do some bits that were really silly. And then I would do these random like edgy jokes just because I also have, I like that kind of humor, but I just, doesn't really cater towards me very well. Like even if you saw my show last night, I have maybe a subject matter that is like whatever, but it's very silly. Like even when I tell a story that's a bit, like I do it in like such a dumb way that I think people just, whatever, it's fine.
I don't want to spoil your set, but your last joke last night.
Yeah, I tell a story about, it's a true story. I accidentally, and I need to preface this very strongly, threw a ball at a girl's face who had Down syndrome one time in a park, and it's like the closing bit of my show. And I get the crowd to turn against me at first. I say that statement just like bang and everyone freaks out. And then slowly over the story, you realize that I'm not actually the massive asshole that I first made myself to be. But I like doing that. I like putting myself on the back foot and then you get people on board slowly,
In stand-up comedy, there doesn't seem to be a manual. There's very little books written about how to write a joke. What's your creative process in terms of taking maybe because you're very observational as well, taking maybe something that's happened publicly or something that's happened to you. What's your process in terms of turning that into a joke?
I don't know. I never know how to answer this because I just go, oh, that's funny, say it. Yeah. Like I'll just think of something and then I'm like, oh, write it down quick before you forget it.
Do you think if there was a manual for comedy, it would ruin the essence of comedy?
Yeah, probably. I mean, there is a million podcasts where a bunch of white guys like us talk about this. So just go listen to that if you want to know. And you're currently listening to it. But I feel like I'm not a good person to ask because I don't I'm not probably the strongest writer there is. I really make up for my lack of writing in charm. I don't know. I move around a lot. I feel like I'm silly, and honestly, I try and go for fun first. Like if I'm not having fun, then what's the point? And then, hopefully that translates into funny, I guess. I don't know.
Watching you on stage, it seems like you're having the time of your life. And looking at your touring schedule, I can't imagine you would be touring as relentlessly as you are if you didn't enjoy it, because you're out on the road almost every day, somewhere new. Your UK tour, you're on like every town or city in the UK.
Yeah.
Walk me through what the UK tour looks like at the moment.
The UK tour has been crazy. I've been here for like 2 months and I've still got a month to go in Europe. And then I go back in September. I came here like June 1st and I get back September 6th, I think. It's a long time to be away, to be honest.
Do you miss home?
Yeah, for sure. I don't really miss like Australia. I do, but like I mainly miss my friends and family. You miss out on things. You see your friends going out to the pub and you're like, God, that looks sick, man. But I don't know, it's one of the sacrifices where I still wouldn't trade. Like, this is so much fun. This is the best job in the world. And to even sit there and you have those thoughts where you're like, oh, why am I doing this? And then you're like, and then you go out on stage, you're like, that's why.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But I'm very grateful, so I'm not going to sulk about it.
I can't imagine it's as lonely for you on the road because you have the privilege to take your wonderful girlfriend with you. I can imagine if she was home in Oz, that would be a very different story.
Oh yeah, I don't think it would work if she didn't come with me. Yeah, Meg tours with me, which is amazing. Which kind of happened organically. So during COVID, I was escaping lockdowns in Australia and we just started touring in places where there wasn't COVID. And then she would like drive the car and I would edit the videos from the night before and then try and post them by that night. And then we just keep adding shows. And that's when I started to go viral on TikTok. So I would just like keep every day editing. And then like, cause I didn't have a team with me. It was in COVID. I couldn't afford like editors.
Really?
So I was just like touring around in the car. I was getting car sick and then just like, like needing to like vomit and then keep on editing and then post a clip that would go like, some of them would go viral. Then I'd add a neck. So then like we just keep adding more shows all around the country. And then she just never went back to her job. Like she's like, oh, this is so much fun. And also she couldn't go back to her job because she has a heart condition and she was a remedial therapist. So she couldn't renew her license to do that professionally. So it kind of just worked out where she's like, well, I like this more. And because I think people think I'm like forcing everyone around me to like work for me, but she's like, please, this is amazing. Like, thank you.
How has TikTok contributed to your sellout shows and your success and your tours? Because you've went insanely viral on that platform.
Yeah, I mean, it changed my life. It changed my career for sure. It's weird. I don't know.
There's like a specific group of people that I've come across in the stand-up comedy scene and heard on podcasts that say like things such as TikTok and Instagram Reels have ruined stand-up comedy because it either optimizes for short-term jokes, less storytelling, or there's people that see that content and think they can be a stand-up comedian and go in and try it and pollute the industry. I think it's a good thing. I think having more visible role models that are comedians and bringing more people into the industry is a good thing. That's why
I think that is a good thing. I do think it's ruined stand-up. I agree with them in the sense that I'm part of the problem. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's made it much more. I mean, I'm grateful because it's given me an opportunity to get way better at stand-up because now I can tour more. For that, it's great. But I think it's ruined people's perception of stand-up, if that makes sense. Now people come to shows and you saw it firsthand last night. People just want to be engaged with personally. Yeah. It's like I was talking, I have a bit in my show where I talk about facing a fear of mine. So I ask the crowd before I do my story, I go, does anyone have a weird fear that they're willing to share? And as I was talking to someone else, someone was like, bananas or butterfly, I forget what it was. As I'm having an interaction, someone else just screams another fear. And I'm like, I'm in the middle of a conversation, but they're just like, but talk to me. Yeah. So I think that has become a problem. And I've spoken to other comedians that are quite big online and they find the same issues at their shows, that people they're almost confused when you start doing bits. Like, because they're just like, but you just don't want, I watch your videos, so I came to have a conversation with you. And you're like, there's 1,000 other people here, and in those videos, they don't consider the fact that there's also 1,000 people there that aren't talking.
Yeah, they've paid for a ticket as well.
But I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm not going to complain about it because I'm really grateful to everyone who comes to my shows. But it's definitely, I think, young people who have never watched much older generation traditional stand-up comedy have a different perception of what it is.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing though, because hopefully like your content and your format is like the gateway drug for them to go into the archives and watch like a Richard Pryor or an Eddie Murphy or Sir Billy Connolly or even like people from like 10, 15 years ago.
100%. As much as other comedians want to shit on it, I'm so many people's first comedy gig.
Yeah.
And since then, I've had people come back to my show a year later going, me and my partner go all the time now. We go to the Glee Club like once a month. We go to this. We just love it.
You were my sister who's in the studio today. You were her gateway drug into stand-up comedy.
Let's go.
And now she goes to gigs all the time.
Yeah, well,
And she comes and
thank you.
watches me.
That's very kind.
Yeah.
But I think that, so for that reason, it's great. It's showing more people that it exists. I mean, I wish I had that's why I had never watched it before I was like 18, because it was just on TV and I didn't watch TV.
Yeah, there's such a big gap between where you were sat and the superstars on TV. You didn't realize there's a very tangible roadmap to that point. But then when you see people on TikTok even doing like open mic nights and filming some of the content, you realize, well, they're only a couple of rungs ahead of me. I can maybe pop along to an open mic night and try it myself, or at least watch stand-up comedy in a more smaller, intimate environment.
Yeah. I do think maybe there's a bit in people's career, like if you are thinking about starting it, maybe just like do it for a couple years before you really start hammering clips out. Because I think it's important everyone should post clips, but it's one of those ones where everyone is trying to fast track success. And I was so guilty of that. I was like back in the day, like, why aren't I going viral? And then you look back at the stuff you're posting and you're like, oh, that's why I wasn't going viral.
But then you look at your virality, but also your work ethic and your work rate. You're out on the road like for however many days.
Yeah.
You're matching both the content with the work ethic, where there's going to be some people that will do like an open mic night every 10 days, post a clip and not understand why they're not garnering or following or fast tracking the queue. When I had Jimmy Carr on the podcast, even at his level and the amount of years he's been in the game, he's still out on the road 300 nights a year in every continent in the world. He's still matching his virality that you see online with the boots on the ground.
Yeah, I'd really admire Jimmy. Even when he comes to Australia last year, he did like a 7-month tour in Australia. He did everywhere. Like usually there's not many comedians that go regional. Like there's probably, I could name a handful and I'm probably one of them. And he was going everywhere. And there were people who came to my show and were like, I've only ever seen 2 comedians, you and Jimmy Carr, because you're the only 2 people that have come here.
When he came on the pod, that's what he said. He said, how to negate envy or jealousy is just show them how hard you work. People ask him, where were you? He replied, everywhere. They ask, how often were you there? He goes, all of the time. And I was like, that's so cold. That is so true.
Yeah, and I also like being a guy, especially in Australia, that I go everywhere. Like I do mining towns that are 6-hour drive away from the nearest capital city. And it's just like in the middle of nowhere. But people are so appreciative when you go there. You can feel like a theater because everyone turns up. It's sick.
Can I ask you why you do that? Because obviously you could, if you were looking for 200, 300, 500 new fans, it'd be much easier to just do an hour of editing and post a clip online. But you also travel 6 hours to a mining village to garner maybe 600, 500, even maybe 100 new fans. What's your why?
It's not even really to garner them. I mean, I guess it is like, because half the people probably know who I am already, and half the people just bring a friend who are like, oh, there's a thing on, let's go. I don't know. It's fun. Is it not fun? Like it's so much fun.
Yeah, I love it.
And also that was one of my favorite tours of my whole tour. Like just they're so up for it. And as soon as you get on this, they're just like, dude, this is the only thing that's happened here in a year. Like it's so boring there. It's a place called Kalgoorlie. They have Xbox at the pub because there's nothing else to do. They just they put consoles at the pub because they're guys that are just away from their families working on the mines. They're called FIFO workers, fly in, fly out. And there's just nothing to do.
Dude, when you come back here to Scotland, I would love for you to do like some of our remote islands as part of your tour. That would be so sick.
I haven't even gone up to Inverness and stuff. I want to do more next time I come, but it's just one of those things where, because I don't have as big of a following here, all my team is like, dude, we're going to lose so much money doing this shit. Like we went to Swansea and I'm pretty sure I lost money doing a show in Wales. But again,
to be honest, everyone that goes to Swansea loses money. The theft rate's pretty high.
Because they've only got like one venue and I half filled it. And when you half fill a massive theatre, you're not making any money.
What are some of the, to ask about that, in terms of like the logistics of setting up a tour, how like, do you have a transport manager? Do you have to organize all of that yourself in terms of communicating with venues and booking venues? Do you have to do all that yourself?
Yeah.
I just want to understand what it takes to put on something like that that's on the road almost every night.
Yeah, so we have like a company, which now I think like, including me, I think there's 10 people that work for it, but I'm not really an employee. I just kind of do dick jokes and just go, yeah, I'll do a show.
Do you have a HR arm?
I guess we have a HR. I mean, we have like a finance advisor who doubles as HR, but yeah, we have like a proper accountant. We used to joke that my girlfriend was HR. And if someone made like a cook joke in the office, we're like, speak to Meg. I'm sorry, it's not my department. And then she'd be like, nah, good shit, keep going. She'd be like, it's fine by me. I mean, she's rooting the boss. It's not a great HR department. So it's pretty sketchy, to be honest. But yeah, so my brother books all the shows. Like it starts off usually as an Excel document. Like literally I got sent, like I've got an American tour going on sale next week, and I've got an Australian tour already booked in for next year. I've got a New Zealand tour booked in for late next year already. And then we've got an Excel that's already outlined my 2026 of like regional Australia. So I know what I'm doing like 2 years in advance. So it's planned a lot in the future. So when people go like, oh, come to here, and I'm like, you should have sent me that 2 years ago. So it's one of those things where you can change little things, like maybe a show here or there, but most of it's locked in. And then Meg often books all the transport, like an accommodation in advance. So she'll book all like the hotels or Airbnbs. Then we've booked like a van that we just have for 2 months for this trip that we just travel around in. It's a lot of admin, yeah. But I try not to get involved.
People might look from the outside and think, oh my God, you book your schedule 2 years in advance. But this is a job for you. There's going to be people listening to this who have a job and they don't realize that they're planning on doing that job in 2 years' time too. So they've planned their career too. You're just planning your career.
I mean, it's also just like you have to book theatres 2 years in advance to get a Saturday night.
Really?
Like that's why I did a Wednesday at the Pavilion. Like, so you just can't get it. Like big markets like Glasgow and Edinburgh, we try and get weekends for, because that's when you're going to sell more tickets. But sometimes, yeah, like you just can't compete with like, if they've got like, we tried to book like the Palladium in London, but they've got like Ricky Gervais for 10 nights in a row and he's going to guaranteed sell out. Why would they book me on a Saturday? Or they've got a musical theatre show that's doing a run of a month that is probably going to sell out. Why would they book a comedian for one night when they can make X amount of money? So then you end up getting like a Tuesday on the night off of the musical. And sometimes you're performing and they're like, there's curtains that's in front of a set that they've pushed to the back and shit like that.
And maybe some people turn up for the musical and they leave thinking, oh, that was very misleading.
Yeah.
A joke.
Yes. But yeah, in Australia, it's got to the point now where, because I've now done a few runs of all these towns where now theatres are like giving me the Saturday night slot, and which is great. But it's overseas, it's definitely harder.
When you were talking about how hecklers feel they have this affinity with you and they almost create a conversation mid-show, because of the nature of that and your track record in Oz and your fame and your popularization over there, do you have people having that same approach on the street because they see you online and they see people heckling you in shows? Do they come up to you and act as if they know you almost?
Kind of. No, usually people are super nice. Everyone's just like, oh man, like your videos or whatever, and it's very rarely is it weird. Sometimes when you're out at a pub and people have had a few beers, they'll put their arm around you and be like, dude, me and you will get along so well. And I'm just like, you're dribbling on my shoulder. But usually it's amazing. Yeah. No, I don't think so. I think it's at the show people get really excited and they're just like, here's my moment. And you're like, what did you say? I genuinely had trouble understanding the accent last night, which you could tell.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know how I'm going to go an island, dude.
No, the funniest part for me was when you asked someone's occupation and they said a Sky engineer. And like for the listeners, they'll know that Sky is a brand of cable TV.
Which I also knew, but I just forgot about. Well, he confused me. The guy kind of threw me under the bus. He went, I'm a Sky engineer. And I went, oh, cool. And then there was this running in joke from the show already where some girl just yelled out, flying. So I was like, oh, cool, like flying. As a joke. And then I was like, so what is that? And he goes, oh, and he looks at me and he goes, oh, like satellites. Like I work on satellites. And he pointed up. So I was like, oh, he must like work for like, you know, putting satellites into the atmosphere, and maybe Scottish people randomly call that a sky engineer. So I was like, oh, cool. And then turns out he works on satellites at people's houses to get cable TV.
It was when the moment you clicked what he meant was hilarious. Like, oh,
You know how often that happens? And another one was someone mentioned their mum, and then
they said you said what's your mum's name, and they replied your mum.
Yeah,
Back
but
to you.
yeah, someone mentioned their mum, and I was like, oh, what was your mum's name? And then he was like, your ma.
Your ma, yeah.
But like, I was like, oh, you're saying like your mum. Like, I got it, but then other people were like, no, like your ma. And I was like, yeah, like your mum. I get, like, we also have your mum jokes where I'm from. It's not just a you thing. But I was just like, yeah, but seriously, answer the question. What's your mum's name?
What's been your favorite heckle?
Favorite heckle?
Yeah.
Oh, ever.
Most memorable, yeah.
Oh, man, I don't know. There's a few pretty good ones. I think you don't remember them because usually it's just like someone, happened last night actually, like someone would just comment a great callback from the show already, like towards the end, and it'll just bring the house down.
Yesterday was kids. That was a common theme. Everyone was heckling back the word kids.
Oh, apparently they were saying tits. And I didn't understand the accent. That's what that's what Meg told me afterwards.
I thought it was kids.
She's like, no, dude, she's like, I need to walk you through dialect training. She's like, when they say, they're like tits. So I thought it said kids, but it was tits. So we say like tits, but you guys like tits.
Tits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a TETS.
Because I said, I was like, what have you been thinking about, man? And then someone else was like, tits, which makes way more sense than, I thought they were like kids. And I was like, whoa, dude.
Yeah, I thought that too, because there was a nursery teacher that was heckling down the front. I thought it was a callback to that.
I'll be honest, dude, last night got weird.
It was weird. It was hilarious. I loved it. One of my favourite heckles, actually, that I've seen online from a Scottish person, if not a Scottish show, was when you asked someone where they worked and they said they worked in a big Tesco and it blew your mind. And then they said that they work in the reduced sticker aisle.
Yeah, she was actually at the show last night, but I didn't want to like bring it up. Yeah, I gave her free tickets to the show because like that video went so viral, and then we were chatting online about it afterwards, and it turns out we were actually doing a podcast today. We're meeting up with her, yeah. But she actually ended up getting like some form of promotion from Big Tesco from that video. She now gets to work when she goes home. She gets to work at like the one that she wants to at the Express, and then when she's studying, she gets to work at the big one. And she's like, "Thank you so much. It's made my life so much better," which is so cool. And apparently, like that video got so many views, and I'm pretty sure she's like, "Yeah, they sent me a hat." Like that's the least they could do.
You put Big Tesco stocks up and all they got was a fucking hat.
Dude, that's got to be the best free promotion.
Have you been to a Big Tesco yet?
Yeah, I went and then I had to check it out, and it's so awesome. You guys are doing so much in one store.
Yeah.
There was like rat poison and Monopoly in the same aisle. Like, what are you guys doing here?
That's how most games of Monopoly should end.
Yes. I understood why it was strategically placed. I was like, no, yeah, those things go hand in hand. But in Australia, we'd separate those items.
Yeah, so you don't have like the equivalent of that in Australia.
I think we have Costco, but like no one really goes. You have to pay like a subscription. Is that the same here? You get like pay a yearly fee to shop there.
We have a Costco. I've not been, but we have things similar called cash and carries, just big wholesale distributors.
Yeah, we have like one in every city, I'm pretty sure. So I just don't live near one, so I don't go. But we separate our alcohol from our supermarkets. We're weird.
Really?
Even in New Zealand, they have beer and wine in the supermarket, but then they separate spirits. You guys just have everything.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And would you have like a butcher and a greengrocers?
Yeah, like we have Kmart. I don't know if you know that, but it used to be here, I'm pretty sure. But we have like, that's like where you'd buy clothes or like homewares, like cushions.
Is it similar to like Target?
Yeah, kind of like Target. And then we have like supermarkets, which is just groceries. And then you sell like cleaning products and stuff, but nothing. You know what it is? Our supermarkets are like your Tesco superstores. Just no, not even like your regular Tesco's.
Like the Express, almost.
No,
bigger than that.
You know what I've realized? It's so confusing. There's 4 types of Tesco across the UK. There's Tesco Express, which is like a mini one, and there's Tesco, which is what we'd probably call a supermarket. Then there's Tesco Superstores, which is another thing, which is where there's clothes and stuff. And then there's Tesco Extra, which is big Tesco where there's everything.
Oh, with like phone stores and
Yeah.
optometrists and things.
It's very odd. It's confusing as a foreigner.
I didn't expect to learn more about Tesco from you, a foreigner.
I've had to deep dive on this subject because I talk about it on stage, and for some reason, my demographic loses their minds over Tesco. Partly because of the viral video that I had, and also just partly they're like, dude, how good are meal deals? I think it's a bit of both.
One of my favourite stories about heckling that I watched about you online was...
But by the way, that girl wasn't heckling. I just asked her a question.
Yeah.
I don't consider that heckling. If they interrupt a bit, that's a heckle.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, what do you do? You know, and then some comedians are dicks.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you just started the conversation. Why are you being an asshole? But yeah, sorry, you go.
I was around, I believe there's an influx of people going to your gigs who suffer from Tourette's because of some viral content that you put out about Tourette's syndrome. And I just think that's beautiful that your comedy and the content that you've put online has encouraged a specific person or type of person that would never really feel proud or comfortable going to a comedy gig. You've become that space for them.
It's awesome. Yeah. It's something I never set out to do, obviously, but it's like a community that has embraced what I do. And it's great. I love it. I did a show right before I left, a fundraiser show for the Tourette's Syndrome Association of Australia. And we did a charity gig, raised a bunch of money. And there was like 40 people out of about 450 in the crowd that had Tourette's. And it was wild. They were all just setting each other off, and they started to do like orgasm noises. And by the end, it just sounded like there was an orgy in the corner. Like it was just, and they were all just doing it. And oh, it was so funny. And someone yelled, oh man, and my parents were there, and it was one of the absolute classics by my dad. He's in the crowd, and I don't know why I opened myself up. I briefly kept forgetting that I was at a Tourette's fundraiser show. I got it after the break. I'm hosting the night, and I'm like, all right guys, what did we get up to? I go, what did you do during the break? And someone just goes, yeah, mom. And then my dad goes, that was me actually. Oh my God. It was awesome. But yeah, it was beautiful. And getting to actually talk to these people and hearing their stories after the show and before it, and being involved with that community has been genuinely eye-opening. Yeah. Like I went from having never met someone with Tourette's to now met hundreds of people with Tourette's, which is cool.
I think that's amazing because all I know about Tourette's is like viral videos online that are kind of not punching down, but like it's almost like a highlight reel of like funny Tourette's outbreaks from TV and things like that. But I can imagine having the opportunity to learn about some of the struggles that they go through and then celebrating that in the room, making them feel heard. Because I guess by having that fundraiser and embracing their tics and their Tourette's, you are accepting and making them feel heard and allowing them to do the thing that they might have been ashamed by.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful.
And I think some people think I like clip it or post about it every time it happens. Like I think I've posted almost like maybe like 10% of the interactions I've had with people with Tourette's. It happens all the time. Like but it's not, sometimes I just don't even acknowledge it. Like in Liverpool, there was a guy I was talking to where I was like, well, what's your biggest fear? And he was like, oh, little holes. And he was ticking throughout the interaction with him, but it wasn't about his Tourette's. It was about his fear. So it's just like, what's the point of even like acknowledging it when he's just like, it's a weird thing to just go, oh, and you have Tourette's when that's not about it. But I had one in Sheffield, actually. It was quite funny. She was in the front row, and then when she walked out to go to the toilet, she just flipped me off as she was walking past the stage. And then I was like, what? Did you just flip me off? It was very funny. And then when she comes back in the room, I couldn't help it. I just start flipping off. And she thought it was hilarious, but I don't know if I'll post that one. One of those ones where she thought it was great, but maybe people online will be like, how dare you?
Yeah. Out of context, that looked awful.
Oh, yeah, but people aren't in the room, and also it's like, shut up. She was laughing. Who cares? It's a joke.
What are some of the career highlights that you've enjoyed? Have you had any like proper pinch me moments that young Luke doing his first gig after high school would be delighted to know that he ended up doing?
Yeah, I mean, all of them. Like,
being here in Glasgow. I
Yeah,
guess,
like
you know?
doing the Pavilion in Glasgow. I remember walking past it last year when I did the Glee Club because it's like next door. And I said to Meg, my girlfriend, I was like, oh, I'd love to play there one day. And I didn't think I'd be there in a year. That's pretty cool. Yeah, like the Enmore Theatre in Sydney. It's one of our most iconic venues in Australia. I got to do 4 shows there over a weekend, and yeah, it was like that was like a dream come true. I don't know, like just stuff like that. I did like an arena show. I didn't fill it, but it was still cool to play like where we play the basketball in a place called Townsville, which is like a regional town in Australia, and that was cool. So yeah, little things like that. But often, like, even doing the Hot Water Comedy Club was a real pinch me moment because I'd seen so many clips online, and that's become a very, like, I don't know, it's become like quite a cool place to do and a quite a prestigious club, and that was cool.
What does your like Everest of stand-up comedy look like? Like where will you climb, or where do you dream to climb?
I think I'm gonna have a crack at America. I feel like I got to go there and try it. I would love to do a gig at like the Comedy Cellar. Obviously, every comedian would love to do a gig there, or like the Comedy Store in LA or something like that. Would be cool. I don't know. What I'm doing is I'm already having so much fun that it's whatever. Whatever happens from here is awesome. If my career ended tomorrow, I would look back on this and be like, that was a cool way to spend your 20s. Now time to get a real job.
You and your brother will work in accounts again.
Yeah, for sure.
Mate, this has been so much fun. I've really enjoyed this.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for the tickets last night. Thanks for coming and enjoying some Scottish delicacy.
Thank you for enlightening me on some of your cuisine. It was beautiful. This beer and Iron Brew is so good.
Will you be back in Scotland for your next tour?
Probably not for a while. I think maybe either late 2026 or early 2027.
Well, I'm sure the listeners are already booking it in their calendar, mate.
Yeah, I'd love to see you there. Hopefully back at the Pavilion. This time we might have people on the 3rd.
Thanks, Luke, for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.